Pete Hegseth's planned visit to Israel has been cancelled just as Donald Trump signaled support for selling F-35 fighter jets to Turkey. The United States is weighing a high-stakes F-35 deal with Turkey, and now Trump has also declared that the truce with Iran is over, delivering what looks like a double blow for Netanyahu. Hegseth's decision to cancel his Israel trip comes amid mounting fears that a full-scale war with Iran could erupt, one that might directly engulf Israel. Netanyahu is believed to be fuming as Trump deepens ties with Recep Tayyip Erdogan during the NATO summit, with closer U.S. Turkey cooperation threatening to cut across Israel's efforts to limit Ankara's military reach in the region.
I would like to draw particular attention to 2 points that we need to address as soon as possible. Firstly, the removal of restrictions on defense cooperation among allies, especially in the defense industry.
U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth cancelled his scheduled trip to Israel on July 8th, abruptly scrapping a high-profile visit that Israeli officials had expected to carry major security implications. Hegseth had been expected to meet Benjamin Netanyahu, likely to discuss the controversial prospect of a U.S. F-35 sale to Turkey and the potential impact such a move could have on Israel's qualitative military edge. However, the formal agenda for their meeting was never officially disclosed, leaving room for speculation about what other sensitive regional issues might have been on the table. Hegseth was also due to meet Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz to discuss Iran, according to reports, signaling that Washington and Jerusalem were preparing to coordinate closely on the next phase of the standoff with Tehran. The U.S. Embassy in Israel offered no immediate comment on Hegseth's planned meetings, adding to the sense of diplomatic opacity around why the visit was cancelled at the last minute. No official reason was given for the cancellation, but Hegseth is currently in Turkey alongside Trump, suggesting that Ankara has become the immediate priority in Washington's defense diplomacy. On July 7th, Donald Trump hinted in front of President Erdogan that the U.S. could finally approve a sale of F-35 jets to Turkey, sending a clear public signal that Washington is ready to reconsider earlier restrictions. Trump also announced a waiver on sanctions imposed over Ankara's earlier purchase of Russian S-400 air defense systems, effectively clearing a major obstacle that had blocked Turkey from acquiring U.S. stealth fighters. Those sanctions had previously prevented Turkey from obtaining the F-35s it has long demanded, making the new waiver a significant diplomatic win for Ankara and a major shift in U.S. policy. Any such sale is expected to be fiercely opposed by Israel, which argues that Turkey harbors aggressive aspirations and could use advanced jets to project power in ways that undermine Israel's security. Meanwhile, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has urged the full removal of curbs on defense cooperation, pressing Washington to restore Turkey's status as a trusted partner inside NATO's security architecture.
We aim to reach the 5% target 5 years before the 2035 target set in The Hague. We have allocated an additional $24 billion to our Steel Dome project to address the most pressing need in our alliance, air and missile defense capabilities. As a country with the largest land army in Europe, we are striving to make our capabilities available to the alliance whenever needed. I would like to draw particular attention to 2 points that we need to address as soon as possible. Firstly, the removal of restrictions on defense cooperation among allies, especially in the defense industry. I welcome the fact that this message was emphasized by both industry and government officials at the Defense Industry Forum. Secondly, as European allies, while assuming greater responsibility in continental defense, we must also avoid measures that could weaken the integrity of the alliance and transatlantic relations. Hey, I would like to address our allies who are members of the European Union in particular. Maximum benefit in the Union's security efforts can only be achieved by avoiding unnecessary duplication with NATO. While a model of cooperation dictated by reason and logic is possible, excluding non-EU allies will lead to a waste of limited resources and an artificial division in Europe that we do not desire at all. I share Mr. Trump's vision for peace in the Ukraine conflict. I express my support for the prioritized Ukraine requirements list initiative. Despite attempts to sabotage the progress toward resolving the Iranian crisis, I commend my friend Mr. Trump's resolute stance. In addition to our diplomatic efforts, we are ready to contribute to the deepening of the Strait of Hormuz. I would like to express our gratitude to especially the United States and Spain for the support provided by NATO elements against the missiles targeting Turkey launched from Iran, as well as to Germany and Italy, which deployed additional air defense batteries. I would like to remind you that we must be in full solidarity in the fight against all forms and manifestations of terrorism. I hope that the Ankara summit will be fruitful. I thank those who contributed to the preparation for the summit. Thank you.
Turkey, a long-standing NATO member, has repeatedly criticized Israel for its wars in Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria, framing itself as a defender of regional causes that directly clash with Israeli policies. Ankara has also accused Israel of trying to undermine efforts to maintain a ceasefire between the US and Iran, suggesting that Israeli actions are contributing to renewed tensions and instability. At the same moment Trump was hinting at an F-35 sale to Turkey, Washington was effectively renewing its conflict with Iran, signaling a shift from cautious de-escalation back toward open confrontation. The IRGC claimed it launched retaliatory strikes on 85 US military sites in Bahrain and Kuwait on July 8. Iran accused Washington of violating the ceasefire by carrying out fresh airstrikes across southern Iran. The IRGC said the latest US attacks were deliberately timed to overshadow Ali Khamenei's state funeral. Iran also claimed its forces shot down what it described as an American MQ-9 Reaper drone during the latest exchange. IRGC's statement read, and I quote, "Following the epic of the great Iranian nation in the unprecedented and glorious funeral of the enemy-busting and unique era and martyred leader of the Islamic nation, the aggressive US regime, whose dimensions of its defeat are becoming more apparent day by day, and considers the global reflection of the huge and millions of proud Iraqi people in the wake of the history-making martyred Mujahideen leader as a greater defeat for itself, once again repeated its habit of breaking the agreement and terrified to overshadow this historical event, the child-killing and terrorist US Army in the early hours of this morning openly violated the ceasefire and violated the Islamabad understanding by launching an airstrike on a number of coastal bases and civilian stations on the coasts of Hormozgan and Mahajir provinces." In the initial response to this aggression, the naval and aerospace forces of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, through joint missile and drone operations, destroyed 85 important US military installations in Port Salman, Bahrain's 5th naval area, and Kuwait's Ali Salem Air Base, and shot down an enemy MQ-9 drone that was trying to interfere in the operation. "Victory is only from Allah, the Almighty, the Wise," unquote. The IRGC said the enormous turnout at Khamenei's funeral reflected what it described as America's strategic defeat in the region. The IRGC spokesman claimed Iranian air defenses shot down a US MQ-9 Reaper drone over Bushehr province. Iran said the drone was destroyed after what it described as a fresh wave of American military aggression. The claims came as Washington warned Tehran that any further attacks on US forces would carry serious consequences. US Central Command said on July 8 that American forces carried out precision strikes against more than 80 targets across Iran. According to CENTCOM, the operation followed Iran's recent attacks on commercial vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz. The US military released details of the operation in an official statement issued on July 8. CENTCOM said more than 60 Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps fast attack boats were destroyed in and around the Strait of Hormuz. Washington accused Iran of violating the ceasefire and undermining freedom of navigation through one of the world's busiest maritime corridors. CENTCOM warned that US forces remain fully prepared to hold Iran accountable if attacks continue. US Central Command statement read, and I quote, "US Central Command, CENTCOM, forces completed a new round of offensive strikes against Iran, July 7th, hitting over 80 targets with precision munitions as an immediate response to Iran's latest attacks on commercial vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz. US forces struck Iranian air defense systems, command and control networks, coastal radar sites, anti-ship missile capabilities, and more than 60 Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps small boats in and near the strait to degrade Iran's ability to continue attacking international commerce flowing through the international trade corridor. Iran recently attacked 3 commercial vessels transiting the strait, including Marshall Islands flagged MT El-Rikayat, Saudi Arabia flagged MT Wedyang, and Liberian flagged MT Cyprus Prosperity. The unwarranted aggression by Iranian forces is a clear and dangerous violation of the ceasefire and undermines freedom of navigation. CENTCOM forces remain postured and prepared to hold Iran accountable when the agreement is not adhered to or obeyed." Unquote. A senior US official said the latest strikes were intended as punishment rather than a proportional military response. The official told CNN that the military campaign against Iran is expected to continue for some time. Washington said the objective is to impose a heavy cost on Tehran for targeting international commercial shipping. US officials also warned that additional military action remains on the table if Iran chooses to escalate the conflict again. Subsequently, Trump declared that the ceasefire with Iran was over, drawing a line under previous diplomatic understandings and opening the door to a new phase of U.S.-Iran hostilities.
It's a very interesting question. To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. I'll speak to our negotiators. They want to negotiate. They're good people. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner. But they have to come back to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a waste of time dealing with them. They're liars. We make a deal. And if I make a deal with him, we have a deal. And he goes out, he talks. We make a deal. Everyone's agreed. No nuclear weapon. We make a deal. They go outside, talk to the press. They say, we never even talked about it. There's something wrong with them. They're cuckoo. As far as I'm concerned, it's over.
Talks won't resume after we get through the funeral proceedings. Does this mean that talks with Iran will not resume?
I don't care. They can talk, but I think they're wasting their time. They're a bunch of lying guys. My whole life, that's all I do is deals. My whole life that's how I became president, I guess. That's a deal too, right? But I made a lot of money. I had a lot of great success. Tremendous success. Everything I did, I was successful. And I deal with these guys and I say, this is from a different school. They're liars. They're cheats. They're sick people. They've hurt their people. They killed 54,000 people as of now that were protesting. You know, when people say, how come they haven't taken over? They can't take over because they're dead. They killed them. Nobody's going to take over. They have no guns, and the other side has machine guns. And they're killing them. The press doesn't report it. But they're bad people. They're bad people. And frankly, I don't want to waste my time with them. Now, I'll let our wonderful negotiators keep talking if they want, but I don't see it. I don't like these people. You know that? I like him. I like the leaders. I think all of these leaders.
Great. And they love him.
I think they didn't treat the United States fairly for many years, but that's okay. But they're sane, rational, good people. Most of them. I don't like a couple of them, to be honest with you. But there are a couple I don't like much.
But hey,
I mean, just so they understand, Greenland is very important for the United States, but it's not important for Denmark. In fact, when Denmark was overrun by the Nazis in less than one day, Hitler beat them out in one day, took over. They asked us to take care of Greenland. In fact, we took Greenland, and then stupidly we gave it back. We shouldn't have given it back to them because we're the ones that need it. We need it for protection of the world, not just the United States. And it's very important. It doesn't help Denmark, but it helps us. And it's very important for us. And again, they were defeated very quickly. Denmark was beaten in one day, less than one day, by the Nazis, by Hitler. And when this happened, they immediately switched it over to us. We owned it. We had it. We were taking care of it, and then we gave it back, which is, I don't know why. I wouldn't have given the Panama Canal back either, you know, so what do I know? I certainly wouldn't have done that because China's trying to take over the Panama Canal, and that's not going to happen. So, but I just, you know, it's interesting. I'm very unhappy with NATO, and yet this man is a great leader, and he gets it. He gets it maybe better than some of the leaders.